Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel. I want to welcome you this wonderful, glorious Shabbat day to the truth. We are affiliated with the house, with the Awakening Remnant Coalition, part of Awakening Remnant Coalition Dallas. But I am grateful. I am so excited once again to be here to spend another Shabbat with you. Had a lot going on this week. It has been prosperous. We are doing great and wonderful things here in the house of Israel. I am so grateful once again to be here with you and to spend time with you on this Shabbat. It has been a very glorious week. I would even say we've had some pressing matters, but all praise to Yah that we have made it through this week, and we are working on some things to better assist and aid everybody here with us in the Waking Remnant. So, as you can see, the title of today's message is called The Release. But before we go into it, I want y'all to know, everybody that's here at the sound of my voice, it's going to be a drawn out lesson. This is going to be several days, even several weeks. It does coincide with our feast. Some of the things that we do in our feast are part of this. So don't be confused. Don't get discouraged. I'm going to try to label these and edit these things to where it can be lesson 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, however many lessons it takes. But I do want you to know and understand that there's going to be more than one lesson taught. It's kind of ironic lately anyway. So as we're going on, can you hear me, Malak?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so as we're going into this train of thought and this school of teaching, I want y'all to be very patient. You're not going to get everything all at once. It's going to be some things that we're going to mold through, but we gotta lay a foundation so that you can have a proper understanding of what we're doing. Um, this is not an easy lesson, so I suggest that if you're here and you're going to be here with us, that you need to get a pen and paper, notebook. You need to write down these titles. You need to write down. You need to start writing. Um, that's all I can tell you. Help me keep up with me. And I just think you need to start writing so you can get a better understanding. Shalom, Stefan. How you doing, Ak? It's a pleasure to see you with us once again. All praise to the Most High Yah. But I'm telling you, this lesson is going to be profound. It had me up last night. It also had me calling Brother Yosef first thing this morning, asking him to keep me on task. Man, when you have one of the messages where you know you're gonna be off because there's so much information. So I called Yosef this morning and told him, look, I need you to keep me on task because there's so much information that if I just started talking like I normally do, we'll be everywhere. And a lot of times you may not get it, especially if you're new to Israel. If you're new to the truth, I know for a fact you'll get lost. So we're gonna start from there. Man, I'm trying to find my glasses out
Okay, okay.
because I can't see worth a damn. And I had them up here and I moved them and I don't know where I moved them. Thank God my Isha, she's watching. Baby, if you see my glasses, please bring them to me. Okay, so we're waiting on Joseph to come in to the room, but we're gonna start off first by saying the Shema. Shema Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. All right, now, thank you, baby. That's my niece. Hi. There she goes. So we're gonna get started. She's at a bonded room. Okay, I can't even see the screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm waiting on Yosef to come in. Malak, you mind sending them a text real quick?
Hold on, let me go get my other phone right fast. Hold on.
I'm gonna need everybody for this one. All right, how's everybody's Shabbat been? I hope everybody's well. Hope everybody did well this week. I'm back at the computer this week. I had to be. So we're going to start off in Deuteronomy chapter 15. I'm going to let Malak have a couple of words real quick. Then I just want to get y'all to the scriptures where we're going to start off at.
Yeah, he just texted. He said he's running a little late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, family. Again, Brother Malak, Ben Yasha Allah. It's good to be, again, it's good to be not only here, but it's good to be with the Most High on Shabbat. Believe you me, man, it's, we read the scriptures with sometimes our forefathers couldn't wait for the Sabbath to be over. I can't wait for the Sabbath to get here.
Hallelujah.
I can't wait for the Sabbath to be here, man, because again, boy. But anyway, again, it's always a pleasure to be with these gentlemen. When we do get time, we try to communicate with each other and actually make sure that we help each other stay grounded. Especially what's going on in this world, whether it's economically or whether it's spiritually or what have you. We always dealing with some kind of challenges, so we need that support cast. We need that brotherly love. Even we need that feminine energy from the sisters, to recharge us where we can deal with the challenges of the day. But anyway, with that being said, family, again, I hope you all enjoy this message, and I'm waiting to see what the brother have today.
Hallelujah. Okay, let me break it off the screen. All right, so as we go into the scriptures, I want everybody to turn to Deuteronomy chapter 15. We're going to start off at verse 1. And it says, at the end of every 7 years, we must cancel debt in this manner of remission. Every collector shall cancel what what he owes to his neighbor. He shall not collect anything from his neighbor nor his brother, because Yahuwah, because of Yahuwah at the time, released us from our reclaimed what he had reclaimed. We're gonna go into this slowly because at the end of every 7 years, I want y'all to understand everything moves in a secular cycle. We move in periods of 7. 7 being divine completion. So as we have a 7-day work week, on the 6th day we rest. That completes our week. Even in the 7 years, whatever debt we have whatever we have loaned out or whatever we have given to others, at the end of the seventh year, we cancel that debt.
Mhm.
Now, I want everybody to think about this because there are people now in our lives, and some people that are listening right now that have been collecting from people for over 7 years,
Mhm.
or reminding folks, "Hey, man, I loaned you money 24 years ago, and you ain't paid me back yet."
Mhm.
And these are some of the things that the Father has stipulated and has done so that we as Israel, we as a people, will not be under the bondage of debt. Do you understand that when we were talking last week, we started talking about, well, when we first came back, we started talking about our inheritance. And then
Mhm.
we went into tithing
Mhm.
for a few weeks. And this is a part of the tithes as well. And I
Mhm.
want y'all to understand that we need to cancel out what we owe people.
Mhm.
Debt leads you into bondage.
Mhm.
We were talking about this. I was talking about this with Yosef this morning. How we as Israel have Yosef called it the shiny shackle.
Mhm. Mhm.
We've allowed ourselves to stay in bondage
Mhm.
because of the fact that we are in so much debt to so
Mhm.
many people that we never get a release. And the thing is, we borrow outside of
Mhm.
Israel, and they are not required to follow this law.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Mhm.
want y'all to understand this. This is why in Deuteronomy chapter 28, he tells you in the beginning of Deuteronomy chapter 28, you should lend and not borrow.
Mhm.
Because one thing, a person that borrows, a person that is the borrower, is is conflicted and will always covet things. Do you
Mhm.
understand that being broke leads you
Mhm.
into covetousness?
Mhm. Mhm.
So when we look at what we've got going on here, man, it when we look at what is going on here, this perpetual cycle of debt and
Mhm.
being bound to others outside of Israel have left us in a slave mind, in
Yeah.
slave mentality, because we're in debt to the
Mhm.
people that we lend that loan to us.
Mhm.
Me and Joseph were on this morning. He was like, "Look, I need you to slow down. I need you to look at what you're doing, and I need you to go over this release real well because you've got to understand. If you don't understand this, if you don't get this through your head, you won't understand what the Father has done for us perpetually throughout the years. Do
Yeah.
you understand when he destroyed the world the first time from the flood? It was a form of release. He
Mhm.
released us from the debt of the initial sin, and
Mhm.
he purified the land. He sent the Messiah, who was Moshe, who was Nawak, and he released us from the initial sin,
Mhm.
took us out of debt. We got right back in the debt. We got
Mhm.
led into captivity into Egypt for the first time. Then he sent Moshe, a redeemer, to pull us again out of debt. Do you understand? Oh, I'm about to put the horse before the cart. Go ahead, Joseph. Go back over 15 verse 1 and just keep going until we get to verse 4.
Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 15. At the end of every 7 years, you shall grant a release.
Mm.
I'm reading from the New King James Version, so it may read just a little bit different. You shall grant a release of debts, and this is the form of the release. Every creditor who has lent anything to his neighbor shall release it. He shall not require it of his neighbor or his brother,
Hmm.
because it is called the Lord's Yahweh's release. Of a foreigner you may require it, but you shall give up your claim to what is owed by your brother.
Hold on, stop right there. Stop right there. Do you understand that this is the same perpetual cycle that we have been going through for years? The Father has allowed us to collect debt, but he has also allowed us to release as long as we do it inside of our people.
Mm-hmm.
Because the same rule follows. If the foreigner comes to us and asks for something and he collects a debt with us, we can either release him after the 7 year or we don't have to because he's not a part of us.
Mm-hmm.
But those inside of our gates, and I want y'all to understand what the gates are real quick. So we all familiar with Revelations where it talks about the gates, the 12 gates. The 12 gates represent the borders of the lands of the tribe of Israel. So
Mhm.
each tribe has a land or a portion of inheritance. That is your gate. Those are your
Mm-hmm.
brothers inside of your gates. Now, your
Mm-hmm.
neighbor is the person from the other tribes outside of your gate. I
Mm-hmm.
want y'all to get this understanding. Your neighbor just ain't Joe from around the corner. He ain't Tyrone Jenkins and them. He is your brother or your cousin in another tribe. So if we're Judah, then if we lend to Naphtali, then he is our neighbor, but he is our family. We
Mm-hmm.
have to understand this. We can work inside of the tribes and we
Mm-hmm.
can do commerce. Go ahead, Joseph, tell them what commerce is. We can do commerce between one another.
Yeah, I was sharing with Yemi earlier, and I know Malak has read this.
I'm gonna
He
let
may
him
not
go into
remember,
it
but I
too.
know he's related. The commerce in Black's Law Dictionary, they actually use the term intercourse.
Yes. Yes.
When you do commerce or when you do business or not so much transactions and not so much trade, but when you do commerce in terms of contracts or business covenants or business agreements, that's intercourse. And we were never supposed to do commerce or intercourse outside of Israel. Now we could trade outside of Israel, like I've got this and you got that, and we're going to trade. But as far as the intercourse and as far as commerce, that was only to be done within the tribes. But for us, we were only supposed to do commerce and business covenants and business contract. Malak, I know you this resonate with you. We weren't supposed to enter the contract with our brother or our neighbor.
Malak, can you flesh that part out? Because I want to flesh that out first.
Okay.
I'm giving you the screen.
Well, to add to it, to add to what Brother Joseph just said, he did a wonderful job. Now, this is what we have to understand when it comes down to business. This is why Yeshua HaMashiach said he was about his father's business, and he did commerce, and he did intercourse with Israel first. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. When you talk about intercourse, right? Think about. Let's look at business. When we have heard about business acquisitions or business mergers.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
a marriage.
Yeah,
Talk to
So
him.
so
there you
is
go. There you go. See,
that
he know how to make it make sense. Make it make
Talk
sense,
to him.
Malak.
Talk to him. Talk to him.
yes,
Boy, I'm about to shout over here. Talk to him.
yeah. So what we have to understand when our forefathers married, it's not that they didn't. they didn't love the women or love their brother, but it wasn't this romance. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about romance, it's really Roman antics. Let that sink
Mm-hmm.
in.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Roman antics. When we did business or we loved each other, it's we provided a service. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's what they call in Latin quid pro quo, something for something. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So when you're doing business, when you're trading, they have something. They have to have something of equal value, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, in the modern sense, what they have done with us, this is the mind game they have done with us. They have given us fiat. They have given us something of no value for your sweat
Mm-hmm.
equity that is value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So again, so there you go, Yemi. I'm gonna stop right there, but go ahead, Yemi. We can't hear you, Yemi.
Henceforth, this is why the Father told us when we go into the land that
Yes.
we should not
Come on.
take wives. This now
Come on
listen
now.
to this very carefully. This does not just mean man and woman.
That's
This
right.
means we should not enter into business
That's right.
agreements
That's
with
right.
the other people of that land.
That's right. That's right.
What did Martin Luther King say before he died? He told us that his biggest regret was that
Exactly.
he got in bed with these white folks. And
That's right.
I
That's
hate
right.
to say it like this, but he said he led us into a
A
burning
burning
building
building. That's right. That's right.
because of the fact that we have declined our
That's right.
natural position, which
That's
is
right.
to be separate from
That's right.
them.
That's right.
Henceforth, you look at Rosewood, you look at all these places that we built,
Exactly.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, Elaine, Arkansas,
That's right. Come
all
on.
these places that we built, and we when we left out of slavery and started building communities of our
Come on.
own, and we became rich and we
That's right.
became wealthy in their system. We dealt with our own first. Henceforth,
Mm-hmm.
I know y'all remember this, and I know me, Malak, and Yosef remember this. Our grandmothers used to send us to the stove with no
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
money, and we
Yes.
leave out with a basket of food.
Come on now.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we
Come on
did
now.
commerce with
With
each
each
other.
other. That's right.
That
That's right.
man would take a debt. He would write a note of debt.
That's
He
right.
would send it to our with us when we left, and we
That's right.
had so much time to pay it off.
That's right.
And
That's right.
and even with my grandmama, because I can remember Mr. Ed, the man that business was across the street from my grandmother's house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that man, after so long, he wouldn't even hold the debt over our head anymore. He would release the debt and still let us keep doing business.
Come on now.
This is,
Come on now.
and that was a part of his tithe. From
That's right.
releasing the debt,
That's
you
right.
have tithed to your
That's
brother.
right. That's right.
You
That's
have
right.
given up a portion which you would give
Mm-hmm.
to the poor. This is important. Israel, do you understand that the reason why we are stuck in the position that we're in is because, and why we need to be redeemed? Why we need to be redeemed from Yeshua
Mm-hmm.
HaMashiach is not just because of our sins, but because we are indebted to everybody.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
So that person that y'all may call Jesus Christ, I don't use that name, but that word
Mm-hmm.
Yeshua,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
the the anointed, the Messiah, his
Mm-hmm.
job is to release us
That's right.
from our debt.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
How do you save us unless we be debt free?
That's
Do
right.
you
That's right.
understand that
Pay the price of that.
salvation is actually being without debt?
That's right. That's right.
When when, whoo, when Moses took us out of Egypt, what happened? They destroyed everything
Everything.
in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
land,
That's
and
right.
we left out with what? What did we leave out
Substance.
with?
Substance.
Great
Riches.
substance.
That's
Great
right.
substance. Yeah.
Not just substance, we left out with great substance. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand right now, y'all? We are in the period last year. Um, if we go by the calendar, we were in the 49th year,
That's right.
which is a year of release,
Yeah.
but it's also the year leading up to Jubilee. We are
That's right.
actually in a Jubilee year where all debt is canceled.
That's right. That's right.
Do you, man, do you understand where I'm going with this?
Yes.
Without the release of Yah, there is no way we can be saved.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way.
You,
There
you,
is a
you,
Messiah that comes and releases us from our debt.
you know what? So
Whew.
with a lot of our listeners may be able to recognize Jimmy nowadays and be able to correlate with what you're reading and what you're breaking out in this lesson today. Just think of your creditor where you have a credit card bill or you have a old student loan or an old car loan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say they pass that alleged debt to a new creditor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It can only stay on your. It only supposed to stay on your credit profile for 7 years.
Correct.
This is where they get it from. They get this. See, this is why when I hear people say talk about the scriptures in this negative
Mm-hmm.
connotation, and they don't understand that these people built their whole society up off our
Mm-hmm.
records. It's just let me know that they're not reading scripture. They're not reading Torah. This is
Right.
has
Right.
always been a fundamental principle of Israel. If to even add more to this, Yemi, think about the mindset that we are as a people. I don't do business with black people. I don't work for nobody black. Well, if you're not doing business or commerce, how can number one? How can we have intercourse? Like brother Joseph said, you know what I'm saying? Or how can we marriage? How can we have a marriage if we're not doing business with one another? See, go ahead.
So we're stuck in a cycle of adultery and
Come
fornication
on now. Come
because
on
we're
now.
doing business outside, which means we are stuck in sin.
That's
Do,
right.
do
That's
you
right.
understand? People don't get this. When you sign these contracts, and look, I live in a house, I signed a contract. I got a car, I signed a contract. You know,
Mm-hmm.
these things we sign contracts to. Me and Joseph said this morning, do you realize in African countries, in most countries in Africa, there is no credit system.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
If you
That's
don't
true.
have the money to get it, you can't get it.
You can't get it.
And that's how we should do business as Israel. We allow a certain amount of debt to cross our door. We loan out a
That's
certain
right.
amount of credit, and we realize that they have 7 years to pay off this debt. And if they don't pay this debt off, then we excuse them from it.
That's right. That's right. But the IRS called this balancing the books.
Thank you.
And that's all you're doing is you are balancing the books. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yemi, as you go through the lesson, I want you to do me a favor. You know you know your mortgage. Take and multiply your mortgage, what you pay, versus how much your initial alleged borrow, which you allegedly borrow, and times that times 7, and look at how close you would be as if you was to do it the way according to Torah to pay off your debt. See, most people don't understand that the word mortgage means a debt pledge.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
again,
Yeah.
they're telling you what we're doing when we don't understand, because again, these were principles that the Most High gave us from the beginning to keep us from being in perpetual servitude to the other nations.
Go to go to Exodus chapter 23 real quick.
Exodus chapter 23.
Yeah. Let's start at verse 10.
All right, I'm there.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
23:10 says, 6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its produce. But in the seventh year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, that the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field may eat. In like manner you shall do with your vineyard and your olive grove. 6 days you shall do your work, and on the seventh day you shall rest, that your ox and your donkey may rest, and the son of your female servant and the stranger may be refreshed. And in all that I have said to you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, or let it be heard from your mouth.
Keep going.
3 times you shall keep a feast to me in the year. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread.
Stop real quick. Stop real quick. Do you understand the release also correlates with our feast? So
Yes.
when we go into when we good Lord, Yah, thank you. Our release
Hmm.
even correlates to our feast. Every year we get a release. But
Hmm.
not only do we get a release, it leads us into our feast so that we can do those things that are proper to not only for ourselves, but for all the people around us. Don't forget, our feasts are tithe days. When we have a feast, we're tithing. We're giving to those who are around us that have less. We give to the
Hmm.
Levites who only inheritance is the Most High. We're doing these things. We're actually taking the excess off of our books. Um, you're taxed for in business. You're not taxed. You're really taxed for your excess, right? So these feast days really clear your books so that you're not being taxed. And
That's
when I
right.
say taxed, I mean it takes work to keep excess. If
That's
you
right.
got excess grain, if you got excess fruits and vegetables, you gotta can them jokers. You gotta
Hmm.
build storehouses. You gotta make sure that you don't get rodents and other vermin around eating off your stuff. So one way or another, you're going to be taxed for it. And so the
Hmm.
Father gave us these feast days. So he wanted us to have enough. Do you
Hmm.
understand? And the excess we should share. That is, when you look at it, that is the complete opposite of what this system does. They want the
Yes.
excess
That's
and
right.
they
That's right.
want it all. They want to
That's
hoard
right. That's right.
everything that they got. The Father did not want us to hoard. Why? Because he wanted us to depend on him,
That's right.
On him.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
not on ourselves.
Exactly.
Generational wealth is actually in our land,
That's
in the
right.
soil, in
That's
our
right.
animals. But
Repeat
guess
that
what?
again. Repeat that again, Jimmy. Go back and repeat what you just said.
Generational wealth is in our land,
That's right.
in our animals, and
That's right.
even in our properties as far as our homes, our
Mm-hmm.
homestead. But that's our land. That's a part of our land. We
Exactly.
pass that on. But he wanted us to depend on him.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You
That's right.
can't get a release if you're hoarding. And this is why in Israel we had these feast days, we celebrated these feasts because it is to render the excess.
Let's make this make let's even make more sense of what you just said, Jimmy.
Talk
Think
to him.
about think about when we look at our communities, those that have extra find themselves being targeted by those that don't, that are being deprived, right?
Come
You know,
on
they're being
now.
robbed. So now what happens is if you give them a chance where they can provide for themselves, or you giving it to them, they have no need to rob and murder and steal because they're getting it. See, they're always going to be poor amongst us, and not just even on that level, but when we understand, like you said, like the Most High said, in the seventh year, do not even harvest. Let the poor amongst you get it. Let the animals get it. Let the
Eh,
ground get it, because what happens is you're putting back what you took out of the soil. You put the nutrients back into the soil.
Hey, and he also said, "Let the beast of the field get it."
There you go.
So,
Exactly.
so not
Exactly.
only the animal, but the beast,
Exactly.
the folks. Let them other
Exactly.
folks have it, so that they
Exactly.
won't be ready to fight wars against you.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Y'all, when I say beast of the field, y'all forgive me. A lot of people a lot of people trip because I call them other folks the beast of the field.
Well, the
But
scriptures call them that too
I
sometimes.
know that, but I can't say that all the time.
You know what I'm saying?
He was more cunning than any beast of the field. Shoot.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
now, 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 if y'all are here with me, please leave. If y'all are understanding with us so far, if you're keeping with us so far, just put a 1 in the chat real quick so I know that everybody gets this point. Y'all hurry up so I can move on, because I don't want to move on if y'all don't get it. Okay, we're gonna move on. Nobody put nothing in the chat. We're gonna move forward. When we have the go back into Exodus 20. Where were we? Exodus 23. Start reading again, Yoshi.
Okay. You shall keep this is
15.
15. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. You shall eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded you, at the time appointed in the month of Abib. For in it you came out of Egypt. None shall appear before me empty.
Hmm.
And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of your labors which you have sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering at the end of the year, when you have gathered in the fruit of your labors from the field. 3 times in the year all your males shall appear before Yahuwah Elohim. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, nor shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until morning. The first of the first fruits of your land you shall bring into the house of Yahweh your Elohim. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk.
Okay, let's stop there. So everything that we're learning right now leads us into these feasts.
Hmm.
The release leads us into this feast. He did not want us to come into the feast or any celebration of his empty handed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is why when we go to our feast days, we prepare enough not only for our family but for all the other people that are around us, our brothers, our neighbors, so that if
Mm-hmm.
any are lacking, all can be fed and full. What did you say on a couple of weeks ago, Yosef, when you started talking about the father sitting down at the table watching his children eat?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. He takes delight in just sitting there watching his children enjoy.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'm out of pocket right now, but I got to share this story. I'm out of pocket. I just dropped the twins off back home, but we went to eat, and I
Yeah.
just delight in watching them eat, watching them enjoy, watching them interact with one another, and we interact,
Mhm.
and they ain't paying a dime.
That's a fact.
It ain't cost them nothing, but just for the Father or for the provider, which is our heavenly Father or the Most High. He takes that same attitude with us.
That's right.
He wants to. He enjoys watching us enjoy the fruit. The things that come from him.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yes.
right.
That brings him joy.
That's right.
And that's the biggest thing that we have to understand as Israel. All that we do, we want to bring the Father joy. We
That's right.
want to
That's
bring
right.
the Father pleasure. Why was it important that we did not go into debt? Why was it important that when we were in debt, He released us from our debt so that you don't live life normally when you're in debt?
That's right. That's right.
Listen, when you're in debt to folks, it will make you forget the Sabbath. It will make
Yeah,
you, because it'll make you work so you can pay off this debt.
Exactly.
It'll make you
Exactly.
do
yeah,
things that you would not normally do when you are free of debt. When you don't
Mm-hmm.
have debt, you don't look, man. I'm gonna tell this story, and I'm out of pocket on this one a little bit, but when I received my retirement from the army and for my disability, um, I didn't work the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just be honest with you. When I went to work, I didn't work the same because
Mm-hmm.
what I make at my job ain't what I make from my retirement. So
Exactly.
you work a little different when you don't have to worry about people over your head.
That's right. That's right.
You get a little bit honorary. And
Mm-hmm.
this is with the Father. When you are free of this debt, you move different.
That's
You
right.
move in being grateful. Like at my job, they used to work they used to work once a month on the Shabbat, and they be like, man, are you gonna come in? No, because I don't need that money. The
Exactly. Right.
Father has put it in my way to where I don't have to work overtime, or I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
work all those other extra days that y'all are pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Mm-hmm.
were resentful for it, but I didn't need it.
Exactly.
Y'all go ahead and get that increased or whatever
Mm-hmm.
y'all call it. You go ahead and put yourself in the debt, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing it. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
working on the Sabbath.
Exactly.
yeah.
And this is one of the things we as Israel got to understand. Look, it's the Sabbath day. You might owe people money, but I promise you, if you stand on the Sabbath, if
That's
you
right.
stand on it and you don't work, and you say, look, I'm not working on the Shabbat, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. He is
Mm-hmm.
going to hold himself accountable for you.
That's right. That's right. That's
He
right.
is going to release into you
That's right. That's right.
because you're not
Hmm.
fornicating. Do you understand when you start working these jobs and you working on you fornicating,
Mm-hmm.
you committing
Hmm.
adultery,
Mm-hmm. That's right.
you have made something else a god before him.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm telling y'all, Israel, that we have to be more understanding of what it is that Yahuwah wants us to do. Because if we don't, we're gonna be left
Mm-hmm.
behind.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Go back to Leviticus. I mean, go back to Deuteronomy.
Okay, Deuteronomy 15. I believe we stopped at 4.
Okay, hold on. I gotta find the verse again. My thing jumped. All right, go ahead.
Verse 4. Except when there may be no poor among you, for Yahweh will greatly bless you in the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess as an inheritance. Only if you carefully obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim to observe with care all these commandments which I command you today. For Yahweh your Elohim will bless you just as he promised you. You
Woo!
shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. You shall reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over you.
Wait a minute. I want you to read all those verses again. Start at 4. We'll start
Which
at 3.
ones?
Start at 3.
Okay. It says, of a foreigner you may require it, but you shall give up your claim to whatever is owed by your brother, except when there may be no poor among you. For Yahweh will greatly bless you in the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess as an inheritance. Only if you carefully obey the voice of
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh your Elohim to observe with care all these commandments which I command you today.
Stop
For
Mm-hmm.
real quick.
Yahweh your Elohim,
Stop real quick. Stop real quick.
okay,
Do you understand when they tell you that you do not need to keep, you need to get rid of the old law? Do you understand that the Redeemer came to you because of what you're reading right now? The
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Messiah comes to you because of what you are reading right now. So if
Mm-hmm.
you throw away the law, statutes, and commandments, if you throw away this portion of the law, guess what? You throw away your
That's
redemption.
redeemer. Yeah, you feel where you redeemer.
You throw away your release.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So
hmm
this is why we as a people have been running around here with like chickens with our heads cut off because we have given up our release.
hmm
We going through the motions and not getting any pleasure out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let that sink in.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You going through the motions and you ain't getting no pleasure out of it because there is no release. And
Mm-hmm.
this is why I'm telling y'all, you can get all the riches in the world, but if you in debt to them, you'll
That's
never
right.
enjoy it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You become a slave to it.
Thank you. What's it called, Joseph? Shiny shackles?
shiny shackles.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
Okay, for Yahweh your Elohim will bless you just as he promised you. You shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. You shall reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over you. Verse
Okay.
7.
Now don't go into seven. We're
Okay,
not gonna go there because we don't have time. But I
okay,
want
Hold
everybody to understand
hold
this.
on. Let read verse 5 and 6 again.
Okay, go ahead.
Read verse 5 and 6 again.
it says, only if you carefully obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim to observe with care all these commandments which I command you today. For
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh your Elohim will bless you just as he promised you. You shall lend to many nations, but you
Mm-hmm.
shall not borrow. You shall reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go to Deuteronomy 28.
Okay.
Start at verse 1.
Uh,
So
now it shall
I,
come.
we got to start with this. He said, if you carefully obey and keep those laws and statutes that he gave to us on this day, that you will be blessed, that you will not be lending. You will not be borrowing. You will be the lender, and that you will be over many nations. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
want y'all.
Mhm.
You remember I told y'all to decree with me a few weeks ago that
Mm-hmm.
we're going to live in Deuteronomy 28 verses 1 through 14 instead of
Mm-hmm.
living in 15 through 68.
Yeah.
Go to Deuteronomy verse. Go to Deuteronomy. Go ahead and read Deuteronomy 28 verse 1 and keep going to 14. I will
Okay.
stop you.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, beginning at verse 1. Now it shall come to pass, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim to observe carefully all
Wait,
his commandments,
what's that word?
carefully,
Okay, go ahead.
obey carefully all his commandments which I command you today, that Yahweh your Elohim will set you high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you, because you obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim.
Mm,
Blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the country. Blessed shall be the fruit of your body, the produce of your ground, and the increase of your herds, and the increase of your cattle, and the offspring of your flocks. Blessed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. Blessed shall you be when you come in, and blessed shall you be when you go out.
Mm.
Yahweh will cause your enemies who rise against you to be defeated before your face. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. Yahweh will command the blessing on you in your storehouses and in all to which you set your hand. And he will bless you in the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you. Yahweh will establish you as a holy people to himself,
Mm.
just as he has sworn to you, if you keep the commandments of Yahweh your Elohim and walk in his ways.
Hold up, stop.
Mhm.
All these things are contingent on you doing what?
Walking in his ways. In his ways. I need to
Obeying.
emphasize. I'm sorry. Emphasize his ways.
Thank you. All this is contingent on you keeping his commandments and
Mhm.
walking in his ways. What did it say? Carefully following all his commands.
Mhm.
What's going on, beauty? Carefully following all his commands. Do you understand that when you give up Torah and you live off of what they call so-called faith, faith is keeping his commands, knowing
Mhm.
that he is going to give you a reward at the end. Faith is
Mhm.
keeping his commandments, knowing that he is going to release you from debt.
Mhm.
If the Messiah said, "I come to set the captives free," what do you think they were captives of? Debt.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Exactly.
And forgive. What did he say in the prayer? And forgiving our debts as we forgive our debtors. He's releasing you from debt,
Mhm. Mhm.
not only moral debt, physical debt, but financial debt.
Mhm.
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 Mhm. Mhm.
When
But
y'all
go.
when y'all grasp this concept, go ahead. Did you have something?
But go back to what you said a second ago. You remember you said earlier that the financial debt makes us debt to everything else.
Yes.
See. This is why the Most High told us. He, he told us this was going to happen to us. See, if
Mhm.
once you become indebted financially, then you're willing to go and compromise everything else. You're going to lose your morality. You're going to lose, you know what I'm saying, your spirituality. You're going to lose your humanity. You're going to lose your, you know what I'm saying, your very moral fabric because of the fact that you are enslaved to these very things.
Mhm. Mhm.
You get yourself more in debt trying to get out of debt.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why he told us, and I'll keep going over this once again. This is why he told us when we went into the land not to get in bed with these folks.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna still be there because y'all,
Mhm.
so don't do commerce with them. What is commerce? It's intercourse. It's getting in bed with them. It's making contracts and promises that, for the most part,
Mhm.
they can call you on your debt. Remember when a few years ago they were talking about how George Bush had got us into debt with China,
Mm-hmm.
and it was their prayer that China never called our debt in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Mhm.
understand how to have that over your head? See, Satan has the same hold over us when we get into debt
Mm-hmm.
with him
Mhm.
morally. When we get into moral debt, we
Mm-hmm.
hope and pray that he don't call in our debt. And
Mhm.
this is the thing about being redeemed. When you are redeemed, your creditors are destroyed.
That's right. That's right.
let
You know,
let
what's
let
weird-
let let's get
you know
this.
what's weird about what you just said, Yemi? I don't know if you heard about it, but I know Brother Rod have heard about it. When these brothers trying to correct their status, Brother Rod, me and my brother Yosef, What they call it? What they call it? What the process they call it? When guys trying to correct their status.
Correct the status.
Yeah.
I think.
When the guys are trying to correct their status, they call it the redemption process.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
They call it
Absolutely right.
they call it
Redemption process.
the redemption process, right? Status correction is the redemption process. And right now, our status is not corrected because guess what? We don't have a land, a language, a culture, an identity. Again, you see that? Because
Yeah.
we're in debt.
And so this is one of the things and one of the reasons why I tell y'all you can't get mad at the belt
Yeah, that's
because
right, that's
we
right, that's right.
placed ourselves in this debt. What did he say? When Pontius Pilate was um standing in court, he was like, I can't find no wrong in this man.
Yeah, yeah.
And what was our
Hmm. Hmm.
response? Let his blood be on our
On our
head
hands. That's right, that's right, that's
and
right.
the heads of our
That's
children.
your children. That's right.
Yeah.
So not only so these Negroes were so bold. They said, "Don't let his debt just be on us, but
Yeah,
but go ahead and curse our whole generation."
that's right, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
70 AD came and the Romans said, "I'm tired. I'm tired of these Negroes.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna burn up Jerusalem. They gonna have
Mm-hmm.
to flee, and some of them gonna have to come with us."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do y'all understand everything that's leading up to the return of the Messiah has to do with us being in debt and him
Mm-hmm.
coming to give us the final
Mm-hmm.
release.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all, I know you have some of y'all have never seen this way. Quit using this spirituality stuff, all this mysticism and all this. Oh, he's so great. No, man, he is coming to wage war to redeem you back to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He is coming to wage war to get
Yeah.
rid of your debtors so
That's
that
right.
you can go into your land. Woo! So you can go into your land like our forefathers did,
That's
debt
right.
free, with great substance.
But like you say, Abraham did it. Moses did it.
Mm,
You see what I'm saying? You sure gonna do
that's a fact.
Yeah.
it. You know?
Lead us out of captivity. You
That's
are
right.
in
That's right.
captivity because, first of all, look, they opened up the gates and let you so called free, but then they put you in debt to them.
Mm-hmm.
Henceforth, why
Mm-hmm.
you got a straw man? Why you
Come on
got
now.
why you
Come
got
on now.
when I say a straw man, I mean a social security number
Come on
and a
now.
birth certificate. They actually are borrowing money off of your social security number, your company, and you can't be redeemed.
That's right. That's right.
The reason why when I tell all you Hebrews that you're never gonna get you're never ever ever get it out your head. You're never gonna receive reparations
Mm-hmm.
because the scripture tells us that no man is going to redeem you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you got to wait on Messiah. If
Mm-hmm.
you think you're gonna get some money because of your forefathers was in slavery in this country, get it out your head because if they give
Mm-hmm.
you something, they're gonna put you further in debt.
Hmm.
Remember, fiat currency is giving
Mm-hmm.
something for nothing.
Hmm.
Well, the sad thing about it is that almost half the country that used to use uh the petrodollar it has backed away from it now. So again, the writing is on the wall. And not only the fact that they're not using the petrodollar, but you have what that is the IMF, or you have the internal currency now that's taking over, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is our people are not realizing that. in order for you to get free, that means economy have to collapse. Let me repeat that again. In
Yeah.
order for you to get free, an economy has to collapse.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to save the economy, how can you get freedom?
Not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
That's why if you are buying into this fantasy of being, of receiving reparations from these folks, they are never going to pay you because they honestly feel like they did you a favor. I remember back in the day, I remember back in the day growing up in Louisiana, white folks saying to me, well, y'all turned out better than you would have if you would have stayed in Africa. What the hell do you mean? You have taken me away from being free, and you think because you have given me a little bit that I'm better off than I would with my freedom?
The oxymoron is how can freedom was given to us by Yahuwah.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
So how can a man give you something that was never his to take away from you anyway?
In the way. Do you understand that
Yeah.
most of our slaves, when we were in Israel, most people that became slaves that were Hebrews to other Hebrews sold themselves into slavery to do what?
Mm-hmm.
Pay off
To pay
debt.
for debt. To pay off for debt. Exactly. To pay off for debt.
And this is why the law of release came into play, because you had either 7 years or you had 50 years
Yeah,
to get
Mm-hmm.
this thing right.
that's right.
And even if you, man, I don't want to go into this, but we've got to understand, and I'm going into this in depth next week. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have the brothers, and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna do a Zoom call, or we're gonna do a call so we can flesh out the rest of this. But
Mm-hmm.
y'all got to understand, y'all, that without release there is no redeemer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Understand this. So when you say that I don't keep the law, that the law is done away with, then your release is done away with. We don't
Mm-hmm.
keep
Mm-hmm.
the law. We walk under grace. Do you understand that grace is release?
That's right. That is correct.
Do you
That is
understand
correct.
that grace is the process of release?
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He is giving you grace when he cancels your debt.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So
Mm-hmm.
you can't have grace without being in debt. You
That's right.
can't have grace without him coming to redeem you. You
Mm-hmm.
need all of those things to be
Mm-hmm.
redeemed. We are already in debt.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph, you got something you want to say?
You got it, brother.
Malak, you got anything you want to
You,
share?
I want you to touch up on one more aspect before we get off. You mentioned, and I know you're going to cover it over more so next week. But how profound going into this jubilee that most people don't get. Because again, the reason why that's important, I'll explain it to you once you address it again. Just address that aspect.
Okay, so basically last year was a part of the 7 year cycle where debt was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
But also it was the seventh 7 year cycle. So
Mm-hmm.
this year is a year of Jubilee where all debt is canceled and we
Mm-hmm.
move into our land.
Right.
Um, do you understand in a Jubilee year, if you sold your house and somebody had your house, they would have to give it back?
There you go. Come on.
mm-hmm.
Come on with it, man. Come on with it.
Do you
Come on
understand
with
that
it.
in certain situations that there were certain debts that were considered that you had to wait till the Jubilee year to
That's
be
right.
redeemed from those debts. These extreme debts. When the Messiah comes back for us, all debts will be paid. All
Yeah.
That's right.
debts every debt that we owe as a people will be paid off, and we
Now,
will be able to move into our inheritance. Even the land, if you sold your land, that person had to give your land back in a jubilee year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now
now,
there was some plus and minuses on, there was some finagling that had to
yeah.
go across. Let's see, is it in Leviticus?
I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna show you why that's very important and profound. What you just said, Jimmy.
Go ahead.
Do me a favor, brother. Brother Joseph. On your calculator, pull up your calculator on your phone.
I can't use my phone.
Okay, you can't use it. Well, I'm gonna use
It-
mine. I'm gonna use
It'll
mine.
knock it'll knock me out. It'll knock me out.
No, that's fine. I'm gonna use mine. Okay. Yemi, brother Yemi started off earlier, and he said that 7 is completion, right?
Correct.
Correct.
And you got 7 years of a famine. You got the 7 years of the release. You got the 7-day Sabbath. You got the 7 feast days. You got the 7 the 7, on and on and on. What's
Mm-hmm.
profound about what you just said, Yemi, is this: if we look at 7 times 50, sometimes 50 is 350, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
8 times 50 is 400, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why that's important, because if from a prophetic nature, we had to go through the 400 years in order to get a new beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We
Go
had
ahead.
to get, you know what I'm saying? Because if we'd have just did if we'd have just did 7 times 50, we would just got the rest. So now the Messiah, everything got to be, the books got to be cleared and balanced. You
Right.
know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See the books have to be cleared. See, the Most High gave these people a perfect opportunity for really 350. They had 350 years to get away with the BS that they had been doing. He knew that they wasn't going to do right. That's why we are in a year of Jubilee. So we can get a new beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is why the Hamashiach says to set the cap. See, they would understand what that means when it said to set the captives free.
Go to
You know what I'm saying?
Isaiah. Go to Isaiah 61 real quick. Hold on. Hold that point. We'll go to Isaiah real quick, and then we got to stop this because I'll
Okay.
have y'all up here all day.
So Isaiah 61.
Yeah. Hold on. I got to find it.
Okay, I am there.
Hold on. My computer is refreshing.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna let Joseph read this, and then he's gonna read the whole thing. Then we're gonna go back over it real quick. Go ahead and read the whole thing.
Okay. Isaiah 61 says, "The spirit of Yahweh Elohim is upon me, because Yahweh has anointed me to preach good tidings to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh and the day of vengeance of our Elohim, to comfort all who mourn, to console those who mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called the trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahweh, that he may be glorified. And they shall rebuild the old ruins, and they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the ruined cities, the desolations of many generations. Strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the foreigners shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But
Mm.
you shall be named the priest of Yahweh. They shall call you the servants of our Elohim. You shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory you shall boast. Instead of your shame, you shall have double honor. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
confusion, they shall rejoice in their portion.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, in their land they shall possess double. Everlasting joy shall be theirs. For
Mm-hmm.
I, Yahweh, love justice, and I hate robbery for burnt offering. I will direct their work in truth, and will make with them an everlasting covenant. Their descendants shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All who see them shall acknowledge them. They are the posterity of him of whom Yahweh has blessed. I will
Mm-hmm.
greatly rejoice in Yahweh. My soul shall be joyful in my Elohim, for he had clothed me with the garments of salvation. He had covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. For as the earth brings forth its bud, and the garden causes the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so will Yahweh Elohim cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations.
This is prophecy of what is going to happen in the end time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When he redeems us and we go back into our land, we are going to rebuild the desolated cities.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We are going to cause those people who are foreigners in our land to be to tend to our sheep, to tend to our oxen, to tend to our vines, and we
Mm-hmm.
are going to rejoice in it.
Mm-hmm.
Hallelujah.
Do you understand that the plan is better than the punishment?
That's right. That's right. That's
That
right.
right there, the plan is better than the punishment, y'all.
That's right.
This little bit of hell that we done went through for 400 years, the plan was better than the punishment.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we
Mm-hmm.
come out on the other side of this thing, we going to come out with riches and we going to come out with honor and respect
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to have to acknowledge what? That
That's
we
right.
are the
Yes.
children of Yahuwah,
That's right.
Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
And
Hallelujah.
they are going to watch as we become not only, boy, I want y'all to hear this. Not only that we when the shift happens, when we are no longer the tail,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but we are also the head,
Mm-hmm.
and that we become priests to the land,
Mm-hmm.
that we become priests to the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They gonna have to watch this, y'all. The very people
Yeah.
that they kept in servitude and bondage. See, I listen to being thrown into the lake of fire, but I also understand this, that when these people see what when all the generations, because look,
Mm-hmm.
y'all got to understand this. He deals with nations.
Mm-hmm.
He deals with people, but he really deals in nations.
Nation. That's right.
Okay, so when these nations that have done us wrong for all these years have to look and say they still made it, even though we put them through hell, and
Mm-hmm.
now they have been elevated to their rightful seat, which we have tried to
Mm-hmm.
keep them
Mm-hmm.
from for
Mm-hmm.
all these generations.
Mm-hmm.
And you imagine Master Joe and them when they get woke up out of their sleep and they get to see them niggers as kings and queens, as high priests, as priests, I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
That's
over
right.
the nations, and they got to
Mm-hmm.
tend to us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's hell for them.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Man, whew, I'm done.
Hallelujah.
I'm
Good
done.
job. Good job. Good job.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Good
Um,
job, Bob. Good
I
job.
want to close. All praise to the Most High Yah. First of all, first and foremost, I want to close by saying Shema Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Ehad. If you don't know what I'm saying, go to Deuteronomy chapter 6. I am repeating the Shema. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the word for release is Shemitah. We are going through the Shemitah, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
We are going through the portion of where he is releasing and he is applying it to us.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the time is coming because so many people are beginning to wake up, y'all. I have had
Mm-hmm.
conversations with several of my friends who are just coming into this walk, coming into this understanding. I
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
want y'all to open up your hearts to people who are coming into this truth. Don't shun them away. Don't
That's
push
right.
them away.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Because remember, at some
Well,
point,
that's right.
you
Come
were
on now.
stuck
That's right.
on
That's right.
stupid yourself. And I say
That's
it
right.
like this because I mean it like this.
That's right.
We were all stuck in stupid,
Because all
living
lost
that
at one time.
perpetual cycle
That's
of
right.
borrowing and lending and disobeying the Most High and eating them pork chop sandwiches and them shellfish, them crawfish boils and them
Mm-hmm.
oyster bakes. We done all had our moments of this.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
these people are coming in, living in fornication, being sinful, living in lust, we've all been through this. We have
Mm-hmm.
people that are honestly waking up, and you'll know who they are because they're gonna hit you up out of the blue.
That's right. That's right.
When I
That's right.
tell you I've had people hit me up out of the blue the last couple of weeks about getting right with y'all,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
learning that this is not churchianity, this
That's
is
right. That's
not
right.
church, this ain't spiritual, this is a walk. You got to walk this
Mm-hmm.
thing out so you can
That's
get
right.
a spiritual
Yeah. That's
release.
right. That's right.
See, your spirit man gets fed from your physical walk.
That's
So
right. That's
we
right.
got
That's
to
right.
walk this thing out physically so that we can be released spiritually
That's
when
right.
he returns. We're going to be redeemed not only spiritually but physically as well. And so
That's
I'm
right.
telling y'all, don't turn away those people.
No.
They're going to go through the same things that you went through. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
tell everybody, if it was not for Joseph listening and being obedient to Yah, I wouldn't be up here right now doing what it is I'm doing. If it wasn't for Malak being obedient to Yah, he wouldn't have been here for me through the hardest times, some of the hardest times of my life, and
Mm-hmm.
me turning away from Yah. You know, y'all
Mm-hmm.
y'all need to understand that. I mean, turning to Yah, not turning away, but turning to Yah.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Y'all got to understand that you can't do this walk without him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You need him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right.
so,
That's right.
brothers and sisters, you have a friend in us.
That's right.
If you're trying to come into this truth, I tell y'all, come every Shabbat, sit down. We've got a gambit of lessons that are taught that you can go through the week and get caught up and
Mm-hmm.
help you with your understanding. People that I started listening to when I first came into this truth, go to the Bible Unlocked.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
His name is Brother Yerushalayim. He don't teach no more, but if you look at his Bible Unlocked series, it will
Yeah.
help you get your head wrapped around this.
That's
Our
right. That's right.
lessons we try to teach to everybody, but you need a foundation too.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Um, Go check out Brother Daweed at the Awakened Remnant Coalition. He can
Mm-hmm.
help you too.
That's right. That's right.
We just want y'all to understand that we are here to help you in your time of need.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to ask questions in the chat. If I don't see them, I always go back and look and we'll address it on the following week. I try to
Mm-hmm.
address any questions that we have right now. I'm going to give y'all 10 minutes. If you got any questions that you might have, if you feel free to ask. I think we can stay up here a few more minutes to answer one or two questions. So go ahead and type them in. And we'll wait. I really appreciate y'all, man. I really appreciate you brothers being here with me and really helping me out through this hard time because I truly needed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, it's always a pleasure, man, to be here, man, and not only to listen to the lessons, but to also be able to participate and help, bring forth this information to those that are seeking, man. So, we get enjoyment out of it as well.
oh yeah,
Hallelujah.
there's another group of people that I watch too. They're called Kingdom Preppers.
Yeah,
Um, Kingdom Preppers is really good as well.
yeah, the Kingdom Purpose, yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps you away from all of this camp teachings. It just gives you the scripture and it helps you without all this additives. If you're coming into this truth, I want y'all to understand this. Do not align yourself with a camp. There are people out here trying to do it the right way and they're not in no camps.
You know what I tell people too, to add to what you just saying? Our forefathers understood that we were a family, we were a nation. And it troubles me when I see brothers and sisters in these different organizations that make it like a gang. You know what I'm saying? This is the family. You should, Israel should be able to be welcomed and amongst each other instead of coming up with this new cliquish mentality. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you're not part of me, a part of my organization, I can't deal with you. Don't get me wrong. We know we have structure. We want to have structure and discipline, and we want to have leadership, and we want to have authority. But the true authority is always going to be the Most High and Yeshua HaMashiach. We're just the
Facts.
messengers, and what that means is this: if we are not right, if we are incorrect on something, we are able to be approached and we'll man enough or men enough to be corrected and humble enough to say, you know what, let me do better. But
Yep.
when you get people in these positions, you can't approach them. If you show them they're wrong, just because the fact that they're in those positions, they're not willing to humble themselves and say, well, you know what, I was wrong with my doctrine, my teaching, or my lesson, or what have you. It's follow me. I'm over the Most High, and I'm over Yeshua Hamashiach. I know it all.
And that's the furthest from the truth.
Exactly.
Hey, Malak, what is our plans for Pesach?
Where's the plan for Pesach? I've asked my wife. We're gonna open up our home for Pesach, and those that can come, again, we try to keep it really simple. We're gonna have washing the feet. Brother Yosef, he's always been great with leading that aspect of it with the giving of the unleavened bread and the sharing of the wine and the washing of the feet. And as far as the entertainment, as far as the food and the festivities and going over the scriptures, we always do a good job when we come collectively and put everything forward. But as it stands, it's going to be over here. If and hopefully, those that can come, like I said, we're going to put it out there. If you can come, let us know. And we're not looking for you to bring a whole bunch of food or nothing like that. We just want to make sure we can fellowship together with like-minded people and build a family unit.
Hey, I'm gonna make a curry, so I'll bring a curry over there.
Oh yeah, you got to do that, bro. You got to make that curry, man.
So I'll make a
You got to
curry
make
and
that
bring it over.
for sure, for
Um,
sure. Is there anybody put any questions on that so far, you?
um, It says what's the dates?
The dates. If I
Hold
remember
on.
correctly, you got it, Joseph?
I have it.
What I,
See,
what I wanted to do, because I really want to look at the moon and make sure, because again, you know how the adversary always throw these curveballs at us, because I think they was trying to do it in what, in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be. It begins. Passover begins April the 5th,
The fifth, yeah, that what they were saying,
and
the
it
fifth.
ends Thursday, the 13th at nightfall. So
Well,
sunset on Wednesday,
yes.
sunset Wednesday, all the way through sunfall the following Thursday.
What I want to do is I want to look at that calendar. I want to look at the calendar and look at the actual moon phase and make sure, because I know one of those times it was kind of off a little bit. But again, but I think you're correct, Yemi. I think you're correct.
So
what was
we
that
got
date again? Did you go?
April 5th, April 5th to
Yeah,
April 13th.
so
yeah.
April. So
That's it.
everybody,
That's what I have.
just to let y'all know, sunset starts Passover, and then after that day, the following sunset, we go into Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Yes.
And so the
Hmm.
Feast of Unleavened Bread will last from Thursday sunset to to the following Thursday sunset, which will be the 13th. So y'all got to get this wrapped around your mind. Passover is that Thursday day, but when sunset hits, then we go into the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So everybody needs to get their house in order.
Yeah, get all
Get
that.
out all your baking yeast.
Yes.
Um, Remember, it's the baking yeast that they want out of your house. The yeast, because yeah. So remember that we'll have a discussion on it. We'll go into it a little bit
Yes.
um, to give y'all a better understanding of why it's the baking yeast, and
Hmm.
because everybody thinks differently,
Yes.
but we'll clarify everything. Ask Melinda to get in touch with April
Okay.
so they can go over a few things, and we can get stuff together, because
Cool. Cool.
I'm
Cool.
ready for this Passover. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus,
Also, and again, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but once we sit down and we start laying this out, what I would like to do is you know um, within the next few weeks is try to get with those brothers and we try to do something with gardening, because again we have to really get our mindset understanding the agricultural aspect of why we are who we are as people as well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it don't have to be something big or nothing like that, but as we see what's going on with the foods, with it, everything's already genetically modified and everything, but looking at how the price of food is going up and stuff like that. Again, the thing about Israel, we was an agricultural people, and we knew how to
Uh huh.
survive. And 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 like Brother Yemi said, we gotta understand this. As things get harder and harder, if we're not able to be able to lean on the things that the Most High gave us, it's not His
Hmm.
fault. It's your fault. He gave us. He showed us. He gave us the blueprint. He gave us the instructions. So we should be making this transition to go back to what the Most High gave us in the beginning.
let me explain to y'all how we do this, how we do the calendar. You start at the spring solstice, spring equinox. I'm sorry. You start at the spring equinox. Then you start counting 15 days from then. Well, the first new moon after that, correct?
Yes.
So after the spring solstice, the first new moon after that, then you count 15 days. 15 days ought to put you at a full moon. So you want
Mm-hmm.
to start your feast according to a full moon.
That's
Why?
right.
Because our feasts were traveling feast. If you're not feasting and there's a full moon up in the sky, if you
That's right.
feasting and there ain't a full moon up in the sky, guess what? You on the wrong day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of the scripture. See, the Most High knew that they cannot change these moon phases.
You can change the date. You can't change the phases of the moon.
That's right. That's
Right,
right.
right, right.
You got to look up in the sky. Get out of your phone and look up in the air.
That's right.
Look, whatever day is the spring solstice, then you wait to the first new moon. And
Mm-hmm.
15 days from that, as soon as the full moon comes up, you start Pesach.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Any other questions? If not, I want to thank y'all. It's been an hour and a half. I thank y'all for y'all's love. I thank y'all for being here with us. I thank you for caring enough to make to listen to us here at the truth on your Shabbat. It is a blessing to me and the fellas that are here assembled. If you have any questions from us, feel free. Matter of fact, on next week, I'm gonna put out some information. If you want to reach us, you can reach us at what is it? Awakening Remnant Coalition. The ARC DFW. It's the
Mm-hmm.
ARC DFW at Gmail. I don't mind sharing out my number so y'all can reach and talk to me. Or you can find me on Facebook at Yemi'el Ben Yahuda. Um, just go to Facebook and send me a friend request, and we can chop it up in the messenger. I try to check that messenger at least once a week. I know Sister and Brother Vale reach out to me through there quite a bit. So
Mm-hmm.
once again, I thank all of y'all. And anything else you want to say, Op?
What I'll do is next week, because I can't remember mine by heart. My Gmail on my messages too, man. Because like I said, I backed away from it for a while. But what I'll do is I'll make sure next week I'll try to post that. I have that ready,
All right.
so somebody have somebody. Yeah, it'll be out there for people as well.
You got anything, Joseph?
No, sir.
All right. We love y'all. Shabbat Shalom once again. And we
Shabbat
already
shalom, family.
said the Shema. Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
shalom, Shabbat shalom. Have a good one. All right, family.
All right.